Well, welcome everyone. My name is Sonia Dudley. I'm a Diamond Ambassador with Plexus, and I'm just really, really excited to share with you quite a bit of information that I gained last week. I went to John Maxwell, and you know, it's one of those things I think, okay, I'm 46 years old. I've been in network marketing since I was 19 years old, and I think, how much more can I really learn? Like, how much more is really out there to learn? Really. I mean, you just think there's got to be a point where you've heard it all. But you know what? John has a way of delivering things that just, I don't know. And I love the saying, I've always heard this, hang on. Oh goodness, come on, Sonia. Like when the teacher, when the student is ready, the teacher appears. Yeah, that's it. And it's like, I think that's just, there's so much truth in that. So I'm going to really get started and just kind of dive in. Thank you all for participating tonight. And I'm just going to dive in. So I have so much to say. I'm going to watch my time. Okay, 7:30. Okay, the first thing I want to talk about is finding your purpose. And yes, we have all heard this for years and years and years. If you've been in this industry, you've heard about, finding your why, discovering your why. And I thought, oh boy, this is something I've heard before. I'm going to tell you, this was actually something I've never heard. And John talked a lot about finding your purpose. And if you guys don't care to mute out, just go ahead and hit mute at the bottom left. I don't need to mute. You guys, if you can just go to your bottom left and just hit mute. That way there's no background noise. And then that way we can share a really clear, crisp video. So thank you. All right. So John talked about finding your purpose. And he said when he was in college, there was a professor of his that told him, in order to find your purpose in life, you've got to ask yourself these 3 questions. And I thought, wow, these are the questions. Number 1, what do you sing about? What do you sing about? And I love that question. What is it that, makes your heart pitter patter, that it wakes you up in the morning? I don't know anyone who wakes up in the morning with something that they dread and they really want to get working on something. I mean, if I'm dreading something, I kind of just want to stay in bed. And you might as well just go back to bed if you don't really have something you're going to sing about that day. So what is it you truly, even in preparing this lesson and typing it and drawing on it, I was singing. I mean, I'm like, oh, I can't wait to deliver this. Because it's my heart's passion. Because if I can give this to you and you can get something from it, it was all worth it. Like, this is what I sing about. So ask yourself that question. What do you sing about? All right. There's still someone unmuted. If you can just mute yourself. I can go through and look, but I don't want to have to do that. Let's see. Everyone I'm seeing is muted. All right. Everyone I'm seeing. All right. Lisa, can you mute yourself on your iPhone? And Mark, can you mute? And Billy, can you mute? And there was one more, the very beginning. 615-521, can you mute? We should be good after that. Perfect. All right. The second question is, what do you cry about? What do you cry about? And like for me, when I think about that question, there's a lot of things that move me to emotion and move me to sadness. But there's certain things that when I see it, not only does it stir my soul, but it causes me to do something. So what is it that causes you to do something? Let me give you just a quick example. And there, again, there's a lot of things that make me sad, and there's a lot of things that cause me to do something. But like, I I'm a huge animal lover. I'm a huge puppy lover, dog lover. So when someone posts something about, our humane society, nobody's giving money, like it doesn't just make me sad and emotional, but it causes me into action. That's what I'm talking about when I say that, okay? Because I know we're human. There's a lot of things that make us emotional, but kind of that drives you into action. All right. And number 3, what do you dream about? What do you dream about? I remember being like a kid, a teenager. I remember even when I was new in network marketing, and I remember like my dreams were very unlimited. I did not put a cap on my dreams. I would dream about, I remember thinking huge, crazy dreams. And then I remember life happening, and I remember kind of toning those down. And what I want you to think about is when you start to dream, I want you to remove the cap and think, okay, I'm dreaming this, but what's beyond that? So what is that stuff you just dream? I can see myself as a diamond ambassador in Plexus, but what can I see beyond that? Even beyond that. And I was talking to Lynn the other day. I know, Lynn, you're on the call, and I told Lynn one of like my deepest dreams, like I can so see past diamond and where I'm going to be in life, and it's deeper than Plexus for me. And so I want you to be able to see things like that. So ask yourself to find your purpose. I want you to ask yourself those 3 questions. This is not about a goal. And the whole topic of what I'm about to dive into is uphill living. Uphill living. And John's, last week when I was with him, there was only 200 of us, and most of the time I was in the second row. I was right there. I could really touch him, and it was so personal. And it was like, it was about uphill living, and what is it that we're here for? It's bigger than a goal. When you're climbing uphill, and we're really going to dive into this, when you're climbing uphill, it's not about a goal. It can't be just about a goal, because a goal, you get to the goal, you hit ruby, you hit senior gold, you hit emerald, you hit diamond. That's a goal. Then you got to start back over if you're thinking about a new goal. This topic I'm talking about is bigger than a goal. Your purpose has to be at the top of the hill. And the whole quote that John said over and over and over through the entire 7 hours with him was, anything worthwhile is uphill. Anything worthwhile is uphill. Okay? All right, I'm hearing someone talking. Hang on. All right, Michelle Crane, can you mute yourself? Bottom left. Okay, you did. Good. Aaron, can you mute yourself? Bottom left. And 304 and Michelle's iPad. Go ahead and mute yourself. Okay, so I want to give you a couple things, a few things, 3 things right here to write down. Number 1 is talking about looking uphill and going uphill. Number 1, your purpose gives you the reason to go uphill. Your purpose gives you that reason to go uphill. If you have a purpose, like my purpose, here's my purpose. It's clear as a bell. My purpose is to help other people knock down their fears, overcome their challenges, and be the best that they're meant to be. That's my purpose in life. If I can do that for one person, I've met my purpose. That's my purpose. Find your purpose, but my purpose gives me that reason to climb every day. Okay? Number 2, your passion is the fuel that gets you there. It's the fuel that pushes you up the hill. Your passion pushes you up that hill. Nothing else will push you up the hill. Your purpose is your purpose is up here, and that's the reason. But unless you have the passion, you're not going to have the fuel to get there. Number 3 is your giftedness. Your giftedness determines how high you will go. Okay? of us have a gift. But when we line up the giftedness with the passion and the purpose, it's magical. So your giftedness determines how high you go. And John says all the time, just because you have a gift, for him, for John, his gift is obviously speaking and teaching. He said, if you could have heard me 30 years ago, you would not have thought my gift was speaking and teaching. Just because you're gifted in something doesn't mean you're good at it when you first start at it. You're going to be horrible at speaking, even if that's your gift, if you've never done it. I could not speak in front of 6,000 or 8,000 people 20 years ago. But now I love, the more people, the better, because I've practiced my gift. So just because you're gifted in something doesn't mean you're good at it without practice, okay? So giftedness determines how high you go up on the hill. All right, discipline, I love this. And this is really like just a side note here. Discipline is a result of having a why. Discipline is a result of that purpose. Discipline is not really like we think, okay, I need more discipline. How do I get discipline? When your why is big enough to get you out of bed and to keep you on task all day, you will be disciplined. You don't have a need to be disciplined if you don't have a purpose. If there's no purpose, there's no why. There's no discipline, there's no energy, you might as well go back to bed. That's the bottom line. So you have to have an uphill purpose. John says keeping that purpose uphill, not keeping the goal uphill, but keeping the purpose uphill. All right. I gotta have a drink of water. Hang on. Okay. So anything worthwhile is uphill. Everything we want is uphill. Think about this. Better relationships, don't they take effort, right? Better health, that definitely takes effort. To me, that takes a lot of effort, right? Exercise, eating right, making good food choices, doing it when we don't feel like it. It takes effort. When you think of the word uphill, I want you to think of what that means to you. Uphill, the word uphill, to me, it's effort, it's being deliberate, it's being intentional, it's being willful, it's being on purpose. John would say it's leading your life, not accepting your life. So it's all of those things when I think of the word uphill, which for me, better relationships, better finances, better health, better, stronger faith, all of those things require effort, okay? Uphill thinking. I love, and what we're about to dive into, uphill hopes and downhill habits are impossible. You cannot, hope is not a strategy. Hope is not a strategy. When you say, I hope, hopefully, you're letting yourself off the hook. You're not making a commitment. You're wishing. You're saying, basically, if things work out okay, you're all in. But if there's some snags in the road, and if some excuses come along, and in your mind, if reasons come along, which are really excuses, then you're all in. Hope is not really the greatest word we can use. It's not a strategy word. But uphill hopes and downhill habits are impossible to achieve. Most people want, I love this. John talks about downhill sliding and uphill climbing. Downhill sliding and uphill climbing. And we're about to tackle this. And he says, most people want a downhill life, which means they want everything to slide down to them. But yet they want uphill results. That is so powerful to me. That that did not only speak to me, but like that moved me. And so instead of climbing up to get things, we just want things to slide down. And wouldn't you agree that's probably 90% of the world we live in? I mean, don't you see that? People want this, but the work ethic is pretty, lousy. And they're just not willing to do what it takes. So let me give you 2 or 3 examples of uphill climbing versus downhill sliding. So if you have a piece of paper, you could write uphill climbing over here, and then right beside it, you can title downhill sliding and draw a line under them. And I'm just going to give you 2 or 3. We went through like 10 each, but I don't have time for that. We have a lot to cover in 45 minutes. All right. So under uphill climbing, I want you to think about this. You're preparing. When you're in an uphill climbing mode, you're always preparing for success. You're you're on purpose, you're preparing. The downhill sliding to that is you're repairing. You are repairing things. You're fixing things because you weren't preparing. It's kind of like another one, and this just come to me, but you're proactive or you're reactive. It's the same thing. Both are on purpose. Preparing and being proactive are on purpose. I'll give you a couple more. One is being purposeful, being intentful and purposeful versus aimless and careless. Whatever happens, happens. Something good's bound to happen today, probably, hopefully. You see the difference? It's intent, purposeful, every day. What am I doing today to make things happen? This is great news, and this is a great awareness. We are totally in charge of the outcome of our life. Now, yes, we are going to have trials. Yes, we are. But we're in charge of being intentful, purposeful, and making things happen. Now, the results we're not in charge of, but we are in charge of what we can do to make things intentful and purposeful. I love that. I love that. You know what? If you don't take charge of what you want in your dreams, I promise you right now, 25 years in this business, no one's going to come calling you and saying, Michelle, I have a dream for you today. I'm going to help you make this happen. No one's going to do that. You are the only one that's going to do that. All right, so what we're going to talk about is how to turn your downhill habits into uphill habits. We all have them. It doesn't matter. And John was so, he was so transparent. He said, I'm a great leader, I'm a great speaker, I'm a great trainer, but I can tell you I have some faults. We all do. And, we all have downhill habits that we have to work on. And so I love this question. He said, how do you think habits are changed? And immediately I thought, well, our thinking. It's the only way to change it is our thinking. And he said, it's by your thinking. It's a choice. And I was like, yes, because it's true. When you dig deep, the only way to change your habits is you have to think differently. When I'm thinking about exercise, y'all know, most of you know, that's not my favorite topic nor favorite thing to do. Okay? I'm just being real with you. So, the girl that works with me, and she's only able to train with me a couple days a week. She said, so I haven't worked out with her in 2 weeks. And she said today, tomorrow's our day to train together again. We went out of town. She said, are we meeting at 9? And I thought about it.
What?
Okay, I hear people talking. Wait just a minute. I hear people talking. Hold on. Be sure you're muted. Okay, 304 and Debbie Duncan, can you mute yourself? 304 and Debbie, can you mute? All right, I think that's all that's unmuted. Perfect. All right, and I thought to myself, okay, Sonia, you have not worked out with her in 2 weeks. I go out of town Thursday and Friday. Should I really put out the effort to really work out tomorrow? I mean, I'm out of shape. It's been like 8 days since I've done anything. Why don't I just wait till I get back next week? And I said, no, Sonia, no. You are meeting with her. I don't care if you work out tomorrow and you don't work out for 5 more days. You're working out tomorrow because you made a decision to do it. And you know it's best for you. So yes, you're going to say yes. No excuses. So I made a conscious decision knowing I didn't want to, but knowing that's really what I really want to do. So it was that subconscious fighting with my conscious, and I said, yes, I'm meeting with you. And I know it's going to whip my butt in the morning, and I'm not excited about it. I don't want to go. I'm going. I'm going. So I'm just saying it was a conscious decision to change a downhill habit into an uphill habit, okay? So that's where I'll be at 9 in the morning. All right. I want you to draw this out. I'm going to give you something to draw because we're going to be using this. All right. This is what I want you to draw. All right. At the top left, you should see downhill thinking. I want you to draw this, downhill thinking. You're going to draw a big U. I want you to draw downhill thinking, and then at the bottom of that, right under it, you're going to write downhill habit. And then draw yourself an arrow, and you're going right over to the bottom right corner, and you're going to write uphill thinking. And then the top right, you're going to write uphill habits. Y'all got it? All right, good deal. Okay. All right. Okay, I'm going to give you, we're going to go over 3 examples, and there's probably 20. We're going to go over 3. You can come up with more. Trust me, you can. We all can. All right. The number one thing we're going to talk about, and I want you to write this word under downhill thinking. And like I drew several of these. I didn't just draw one. You can write the same word under it and carry it on, or you can write the U 3 different times like I did. Under downhill thinking, you're going to write the word negative. So under downhill thinking, you're going to write the word negative. Okay, negative is going to go right here. All right, and I want you to think about if you are a negative, if you wake up negative, thinking, I can't do that today. I just don't think I can reach out to 5 people today. I don't think I can do it. So you're already thinking in a negative pattern. I want you to think about what your downhill habit would be if that's your thinking process. Think about it for just a minute. What's going to be the habit that day that you do? Procrastination. That's your downhill habit. So when you are a negative, when you wake up thinking negative, your best friend is procrastination. Okay? How do you go from being a procrastinator to being an uphill thinker? And what is the new habit you have to create there? You have to be a possibility thinker. Under uphill thinking, you need to write the word possibility thinker. John this really hit home. He said, you have to be a yes thinker. You know, Helen is a great example of this. Helen is always a yes thinker. She's always like, okay, let's figure it out. There's a way. We're going to figure this out. There is a way. And so being a yes thinker, a possibility thinker, that is your new uphill thinking. And then what that creates, when you believe you can do something, does that not propel you into action? So your new uphill habit would be action. So at the top of that, you're going to say action. Who wants to get out of bed in the morning when they don't think they can achieve what they set out to do? You don't. You don't even want to face it. So you procrastinate. So you have to make a conscious decision to go, wait a minute, this is possible. This is possible. I've been stuck at senior gold for 8 months. I can hit Ruby. It's possible. And you've got to believe that in order to move into action, to change that habit. All right, that's the first one. It's choice. The next one is so downhill thinking. I'm not responsible. I'm not responsible. I can't help it that I work full time and I don't have any time. I can't help it that all my life I was told I'm no good. I can't help that I live in a small town and I'm not able to get out and meet people. I'm not responsible. So that's your downhill thinking. What's your habit? When you're a downhill thinker, when you're downhill thinking about I'm not responsible, what is that habit? Excuses. All day long, your habit is excuses. And when you're aware of that and you start hearing people give you excuses, John was saying, when it's yourself, you think that it's reasons, but it's really excuses. So I really think we all need that person who says, wait a minute, I love you enough to say to you, this sounds like a good reason, but it's really an excuse. I love you enough to say, let me help bring you out of this, because it's just an excuse you're using. So excuses are exits off the highway of life. They're excuses off the highway. Every time, the biggest thing, and something I teach in my John Maxwell trainings that I do, that all-day training, is, when you're aware that you're using excuses, it's like a light bulb, because you can catch yourself and you can go, wait a minute, Sonia, that's an excuse you're using. Just like this morning, when she said, do you want to meet? I know it's been a while. I know you're going out of town. Do you want to meet? It would have been so easy for me to say, you know what, let's wait till next week. Oh, it would have been easy. But I caught myself. So that's the beauty in this. You've got to be able to catch yourself. And you've got to keep your why. Why do I need to work out? Why do I want to work out? Because I am not a young 20-year-old anymore. I can't look at my body and go, I need to lose 5 pounds, so I'm going to not eat that today and lose 5 pounds. It takes 2 months. It's different. Things happen. It's not easy anymore. I have to put out effort, and I know that. And so I've got to hold myself accountable. I love, in order to go from that downhill habit of excuses and to go over here to the uphill thinking, it's a mind shift of, Sonia, I'm responsible for the outcome of my body. No one else can exercise for me today and it look any different. No one else can exercise for me and me be toned up. It's me. No one else can give me that stamina. So it's that uphill thinking of, I'm responsible. Sonia, if you don't go to the gym in the morning, if you keep saying no to her, you're going to be miserable. You're going to regret it. Regret it. I don't want to regret it. So the uphill thinking is, I am responsible. Taking responsibility. And the uphill habit that happens is, I'm a no excuse person. I'm not buying into my own excuses. I'm a never gonna quit kind of girl. I'm never gonna quit. I don't care if it takes me 10 years to hit diamond. I'm never gonna quit, because I don't quit. I don't quit on myself. I would rather never quit and it take me 10 years as to use excuses and regret it for the rest of my life. You got to ask yourself that question. Is the pain of remaining the same, is that better for you than the pain of regret? Which is worse? Would you rather change and it be painful, or would you rather regret it? All right, I love what John says about this. He said, it's easy for me to make a decision every day to not use an excuse and to overcome. Today, I'm going to exercise. See, what overwhelms me, what John talked about, it's the same as mine. I've got to do this for the rest of my life, every day. Yeah, that shuts me down. I'm going to tell you, it shuts me down. But he said that he says, I'm going to do my best today, just one day. Today, one day, I'm going to be great at this. I'm going to be great at this today. All right, hang on. Hang on. Someone else is entering as a host. Hang on. All right, I'll leave it there. We'll see what happens. Okay. If you do it every day and you're consistent, just today, you do it every day, what happens is you compound consistency over time, and then you become great, and you've conquered that for forever. But it's not focusing on 3 months out, 6 months out. It's today. What am I going to do today to not use an excuse and to be an uphill thinker and create uphill habits? All right. Oh my goodness. All right. Where am I going to stop here? Okay. All right. I tell you what, I'm going to do away with the last example, and I'm going to, because I really want to cover these 10 things. All right. I want to cover, John covered ways to win with people. One of his favorite books is, one of my favorite books, which is, oh goodness gracious, y'all. Hang on. Ways to influence people. Hang on. Don't look at my shorts. I'm gonna put my little thing over here. Y'all can't see me in my little shorts. I've got a cute shirt on and I got jersey shorts. Hang on. Yeah. How to win friends and influence people. There we go. How to win friends and influence people. Yes, one of my favorite books. It's so old and it's such a classic book. But he talks about ways to win with people. So number one is create memories and visit them often. Oh, I love this. He talked about all the ways that he created memories with his family and then visits them often. So it's like, you're on a vacation with your family and you're creating memories and maybe you're talking about them, you're telling a story over and over. So for years, you'll revisit that memory. You'll say, hey, y'all remember when we went to Disney World and we did this and we rode the roller coaster and you remember when this happened? So you're revisiting. You're always reliving those memories. But you can't hope to make a memory. You have to purposefully, intentfully make the memory. You got to make the memory. It's on purpose. So I love that. It really hit home. I love that. Number 2 was practice the 30-second rule. Oh, I love this one. The 30-second rule is in that first 30 seconds when you're with somebody, you're thinking, how can I add value to this person? What can I say in 30 seconds that can make a huge difference in this person's life? Life is so short, and people ask me all the time, what kind of prizes do you do? And I don't do enough. I should do more contests. I'm sure I should. But I get so much mileage out of just pouring into someone in 30 seconds. I have people that say, I had someone who sent me a cute little video the other day, and she videoed herself just telling me what she was going to tell me. And she said, when I ran into you at convention and you said to me, you've been watching my journey and you were so proud of me. She said, that sentence you said to me has driven me beyond all I can ever explain. And I was just bawling. I'm like, that's how powerful our words are to people. And it's free. It's free. It's free. Guys, It does not affect our checkbook. It's free. So I want you to learn to just get excited about when you're with someone for that first 30 seconds. How can I add value to them? Not, what is someone going to give me today? Who owes me? No one owes me. I want to give it away. I want to give blessings away, because if you're blessed, be a blessing. Give that away. Learn to be that person who doesn't expect one thing in return. Not one thing. If you're the person who doesn't expect anything in return, you will have blessings that overflow your life. Your cup will be filled every day. You will wake up with just an overflowing cup. And I want that for all of you. But it starts with that question every day. Who can I add value to? Every morning you wake up, that's the question you say. Who can I add value to today? Who can I bless today? Lynn and I had a conversation last week or 2 weeks ago, and it was seriously one of the most fulfilling conversations I've had in a long time, because I got to see the fruit from the conversation. And it blesses me beyond all I can. I don't even know. There's nothing better. What it does is it lines up with what my purpose is. So it lines up. It's like, oh, ding, 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 ding. I'm living out my purpose. Thank you, Lord, for allowing me to do that. So thank you, Lynn, for reaching out to me and blessing me beyond all you could ever imagine. So, all right, number three, mine, M-I-N-E, like mining, like digging in a gold mine. Mine for the best in others. Dig out the best in people. If people just give you all this garbage, you got to dig to the bottom of that garbage can. You got to say, you know what? What do you want? What's underneath all that hurt? Before all that baggage, talk to me. Tell me what your dreams are. Tell me what they were 25 years ago. Let's dig out and let's get to the bottom of it. Your job is to be you're the gold miner. You're the person that's going to dig and pull out the nuggets. They're there in everyone. They're there. God gave them to everyone. And what happens is, over the years, we just get all this garbage on top of the gold. And then we can't breathe enough and we can't see the top to dig our way out. And we need other people to help us do that. And don't be afraid, Lynn, don't be afraid to reach out to those people and say, I'm being vulnerable here. This is hard for me. Don't be afraid to do that. Don't be afraid to do that. All right, number 4. Compliment people in front of their friends and family. Edify people. You know, the Bible talks about edifying people. You know, who do people, you know, all right, think about this. Think about this. When you hit an achievement, doesn't it do your soul great when someone says to you in front of your friends and family, or goes onto your Facebook wall and says, congratulations, Bev, on your new achievement. You're amazing. I've watched your journey and I'm blown away. Good for you. And all your friends and family go, wow, Bev, that's awesome. You must be doing great. Or, you know, the friends who know what you're doing go, you're right, Sonia. She's an amazing leader. We're so proud of her. Think about what that does for your soul, for your friends and family to go, wow. It's important that we're that person that helps bring out that in those souls. So be that person who you're always looking for. You know, Michelle, who's on your team that I can congratulate today? Who can I edify today on your team? Who needs a pick-me-up from a third-party validation? Let me be that person today. You know, it would be a good thing. And I reached out to my jewels and said, if there's ever anybody I can reach out to on your team, on their Facebook wall, or a private message and say, how can I, you know, let me know. And I've got 4 or 5 of my jewels who took me up on that. And every week they say, do you care to reach out to so-and-so? And they just hit a new rank. And I love it. I mean, I only have 4 or 5 jewels that ask me to do it. Let me tell you, it's something I live for. I enjoy making the time to go to their wall or to private message them and voice them. It brings me more joy than anything I do in the business. So I love the people who take me up on that. Number 5, and this is something that I work on, so I was so excited when he said this. Learn people's names. Yay! Learn people's names. There's nothing sweeter than the sound of your own name. People remember a lot about people, but when someone says, Christine Kylie, you're an amazing person. When someone says that to her and she goes, wow, how did they remember my name? It's the sweetest sound they can hear. So work on that. Work on learning people's names. There's books for it. For me, when I meet someone, I just say, how do you spell it? And they tell me, and I go, oh, I had a friend named that, or, oh, I remember that. That's an unusual spelling. Like, I work on that. So work on that. Number 6, learn to ask good questions. Learn to ask good questions. You know, here's the saying. Here it comes. Here's the saying. You're going to know the saying. People don't care how much you know until they know how much you care. It's a true statement. It's just this thing that we say all the time, but there's so much meaning behind that. You know, like I was at this thing last night, 4th of July thing, and you know, I met a couple people that I had not known, and I purposely met them and wanted to know their name. And what I did was I asked them about themselves. I didn't say, well, my name is, and I'm this, and I'm that, and I'm this. And I said, how long have you been in Plexus? Really? Oh, my gosh, your senior goal? That's awesome. Where do you live? How many kids do you have? And one lady we talked about the birth of her child and how little he was. And I said, where is he? Is he here? I want to meet him. And later she found him, brought him up to me. I want you to understand that there's the blessing in that for me, because I will always remember that person. I know her story. I want to know about that person. As she achieves greater things in this business, I'm going to know her story. And she knows I know her story. I can't wait to reconnect with her. And it's just so much bigger than about a business. It's so much bigger than that. And, you know, I want you to ask yourself, how do I want to be remembered? When I pass through this life, what's the legacy that I want for myself? What do I want people to say about me? I don't want people to say, she was this, she was that, she was this, she was that. I want people to go, you know what? Sonia made such a difference in my life. She said this to me one time, and it meant so much to me. It impacted me. It made a difference in my thinking. It changed my belief in myself. That's the legacy I want to leave. And I want you to think about that question a lot this week. I want you to think about that. Because what it will do for you when you think about that is it will help you to overcome a lot of your fears about talking to people. It will help you get out of the way and have a servant's heart instead of a me heart. It's all about me. It will change the way you live. It will give you blessings. It will give you blessings. So number 6, I think I said, did I say number 6? Learn to ask good questions, or did I not say that one? Hold on. A lot of your faces are gone. Hang on. Okay, Lynn, did I say number 6? Lynn Hopwood, did I say number 6, learn to ask good questions? Did I already say that one? Okay.
Yes.
All right. So learn to ask good questions. Learn to ask them about them. You know, they will ask you about you if it comes around. If it doesn't, it's okay. Okay? Number 7, let them know you need them. let people know you need them. John gave a great example, and I was cracking up at this example. I thought there's really no better example as this. But when you are lost and you need directions, and you stop and ask someone for directions, and they say to you, you know what, Sonia? Just follow me. I'm gonna drive this way. It's really out of my way, but I'm gonna drive a couple miles out of my way and show you how to get there. And you're like, you don't even know me. I've just pulled over at a gas station, and this stranger is gonna lead me to where I want to go. When people know you need them, they will give you maximum effort. Maximum effort when they know you need them. So don't be afraid to say, I need you on my team. I need you on my team. You're an amazing person. You have a huge why. You've got a family that you said you wanted to be home with. I can help you get that, but I need you too. Don't be afraid to say that. Number 8, do for others what they can't do for themselves. Do for others what they can't do for themselves. Now, I'm not saying, and John was not saying, be an enabler. He was not saying, go enable everyone you know and just do everything for them. If they have a question, just answer it. He did not mean that. He meant this. He meant, there are people in your life who are seriously doing all they can do. They're doing all they can do. They're trying. They're your runners, and life is happening to them in a big way right now. Trials are coming their way in a massive way. And it's like you just like, oh, you're hurting for them. You're sad for them because you're like, they're doing everything and they're just going through a streak of trials, a streak of bad luck, if you will. What can you do for that person that can completely lift their spirits that day? There are people who will never be able to do some things that you can do, whether it's because you know people, you have connections, and they'll never have those connections. You've got somebody who maybe their dream is to go to a football game of some sort, and you've got season tickets. And there's no way they could ever do that because life's just happening. Doing things like that for people, things they could never do for themselves. That's what I'm talking about. Connecting them with people that they would never be able to connect with, but you have connections. Those type of things. Number 9 is be the first person to help. Be the first person to help. Not the last person to help, but being the first person. John was talking about his beginning and how there were people who there was a guy who gave him $10,000 to start his Equip ministry. He said, there were other people that come along, but it was that initial, I want you to do this. He was the first. Just being that first person to jump in and help and be a problem solver, starting a GoFund account for someone who's hugely in need, you being that initiator. People don't forget those things. So just some examples. Number 10, set people up for a win. Set people up for a win. An example would be your kids, playing games with your kids or your grandkids, setting them up to win. You want people to win, and I think about Michelle. I don't know if she's still in the call. She may be. Yeah, she is. I think about Michelle Thomas, and I think about, like she had never done network marketing, before Plexus, and she actually hated the thought of it. And I was like trying to get her and Tim in it and da-da-da. And I just remember, I look over the last for her, probably 3.5 years she's been in the business. And I watch her now as a leader, and I listen to her teach people, and I read her posts, I watch her do live videos, and I hear things that I know she's gotten from me. Like things that she's learned and she's tweaked it and made it her own. And I go, wow, like, she's an amazing leader. And I remember when we were teaching that, and now look what she's doing with that. And look how she's like got a whole series about this stuff. And she was scared of this stuff 4 years ago. And I think that's a win for me. Like, I don't need the credit for anything she's doing. She's the success in this. I don't take credit for her success, nor do I take credit for if she considers herself a failure. It's her win, and I don't need credit for that. But that's a joy for me. Like, I go, wow, that's a win for me. Look at her personal growth. She would get red and just break out, and she would do a Verizon. She was my boss at Verizon, and she would do a meeting with 6 or 8 of us, and she would be red and splotchy. And it was her nerves. And now I look at her and just, it brings tears to my eyes. It makes my heart sing. That's what makes my heart sing. And then to see how she's duplicated that to thousands, it's the reason I get up every day. So that's what I'm talking about. Find your joy. Find what makes you sing. I would love for someone to take a picture of this Zoom before it ends. I hope someone has, but I don't see but 4 of you at a time. I don't see all of you on my screen, so I can't do that, but maybe somebody can. Number 11, and this was my little like add-on to this, and this is in closing: successful leaders help others stop their downhill sliding. We help others from their downhill sliding. You know, Michelle, if I see something that I think is hindering your success, do I have your permission to bring that to your attention? If I don't, I won't. But if you want me to do that, I'll be happy to do that because I love you. Don't be afraid to ask that question. People are looking for mentors. And, you know, I look at Bella there and I think, oh, the lessons she's learning from Plexus and from leadership from her parents. I mean, can you imagine your children? I wish I could start over. It's never too late. And then I have grandkids to look forward to. So, oh yeah, get ready, right? All right. So I hope you guys have learned some things that you can put into place, that you can pass on and duplicate. I'm so excited. I literally have 4 more hours of stuff to teach, but I'm going to end because it has been 55 minutes, which is longer than I wanted. But I'm just full of it. I'm so excited. So hope you've learned some things. You can unmute and I will stop recording and I'll stay on for 5 minutes if there are any questions.